Sir, we are live now. Please start.
Okay. Good evening, folks, everyone, for the second live session for our course, Design Thinking, a Primer. So we assemble every live session for mainly to do a few things. One of the first things is to address your questions, your queries. That is one of our primary purpose. For people in this Zoom call, we are on a Zoom call where there are people logged in, simultaneously. So they can ask me and Shyam and Sukrat, who also are assisting me, we can answer questions for you on any questions you may have right here in the Zoom session. Or if you're on YouTube, you're watching this on YouTube live, then you can also leave a chat message and we'll be monitoring that also for questions. Okay, that is our first primary purpose. And of course, a couple of more announcements and some commonly asked questions. We will definitely love to answer those for you as well. After this, this live session is for an hour. If you're watching this as a recording and you would want to ask us further questions on what we have tried to sort of elaborate, elucidate, you can of course use our discussion forum to pose a few fresh questions so that we can answer there as well. So that's the whole idea of these live sessions, to give you a feel of the classroom atmosphere. We can give you a one-to-one synchronous feeling. If not, there's always the discussion forum, which we look at very, very keenly to find out if there are questions that we can help out immediately, or some can take a little bit time, but we try to respond to each and every query that you might have. Okay, so that's about what I had to say to kickstart this whole thing. Sukrat and Shyam, if you can say hello to everyone here and people on YouTube, that'll be great to start off.
Hello.
Okay, so Sukrat is going to be our lead compeer as MC, as I can imagine. so he's the one going to lead the show. We're going to have like a question and answer kind of thing, so that we keep it a bit lively. And if of course, if any of you have a question on the Zoom call, make sure you put your hand up. There's if you click on the reactions button, there's a raise hand. If you click that, we will be able to see, and we will and then you can unmute yourself and ask the questions or any comments. Okay, and yes, if you can also rename yourself according to your name, then we'll be happy to address you. So otherwise it's going to be Samsung 934 or there's an Android Blue Droid. So unless you are Android Blue Droid, we'd like to refer to you by your human name. So that's what I have to say. Sukrat, over to you.
So for the people who have joined before, you already know how it goes, and Bala sir already told you how we are going to go about this session. I say already, we have a raised hand, Mahesh. So if you can unmute and kickstart with the first question or whatever comment you have. All right. If not, sir, is the screen visible? That side?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Yes, Mahesh.
Hi, sir. My name is Mahesh. I'm a UI designer. Actually, my doubt is I'm not well aware of the convergent and the divergent concept. At first time I hear that, I had a bit confusion. What's the real means when you enter into the for searching for a solution? What is that really means? And to look on overall solution means how long the solution is there, means how long you have to empathize, and how long we have to reach to clear that empathize. Either it is the divergent or the convergent. I have a bit confusion on that. Can you please solve my issue?
Sure, sounds good. Certainly, this is one thing that also if you, okay, let me just start off with explaining what the question is. Sukrat, may I use the whiteboard? Probably easier for me to go on the whiteboard.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
sure, sir. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Sukrat. All right, so here's my whiteboard. So it's a very interesting concept of convergent and divergent. So that was Mahesh's question of what is this whole thing about convergent, divergent? Where is what going on? Why do we need to do that? Why are people talking about convergent and divergent? So fair enough. So that's something that we can clarify here. So let me draw this. This is from the Stanford school, Stanford University. They talk about this a lot, and that's so. I'm going to my poorly drawn diamonds. I'm going to draw this. Okay, so let me first draw my diamonds, and then I can tell you what these diamonds represent. Okay, so in our course, we have highlighted 4 stages: empathize, analyze, solve, and test. Okay, let me just write those down in their initials. E, uh, A, analyze, then solve, and then test. Okay, so E as an empathize, that's also part of Mahesh's question, is what is this empathize? Does that converge? Does that diverge? What is diverge? What is converge? Okay, so very simply, uh, diverge. Okay, diverge, the English meaning of that is to open up, or and it is the opposite of focus. So if you focus, that's converging, it is coming together, converge. Okay, diverge is to go away. Okay, so like the here the whatever, let me switch colors here. Okay, so if you look at it, um, this portion of it is what we call as the divergent portion of the thinking that we do. Okay, when I mean divergent, we actually open our eyes, ears, and look for some trends, some insights, some something that's going on with our users or customers. Okay, so we don't pass judgment. We don't say, "Oh, you have this problem, and that's what I'm going to start." We don't start with that. We say, "Okay, let me keep my ears and eyes open. Let me see what is going on in their life. Let me be curious." So we are opening up. Okay, that's the divergent part of it, where we open up, we are open to ideas, we are happy to be proven wrong about what we think was the customer's idea, as the customer's problem or the user's problem. Okay, we are totally open to this. We are like a clean slate, like the whiteboard when I started off was completely white. That's what we do in empathize. When we interact with the users, when we observe them, we have a curiosity like a child. That's what they say, right? Curious as a child. So we are that curious, trying to find out what's going on with them. How are they really using our product or service, or how are they leading their lives? We ask such very basic questions. We assume we don't know anything about what they do. Okay, so that's why it's called the divergent mode, where we look at with an open mind. Now, the next part of it, we can't keep being divergent. We have to converge somewhere. Okay, we have to find out what is the exact problem to solve. And that's why in the analysis phase, we try to narrow down what is the exact problem to solve. So we focus, we go to the root cause using multi-why approach. We also find out what is the conflict. Okay, so that is the sort of focusing, and with a laser focusing, these are the problems I found in my empathize. But is that really true? Is that what they're really going through? Can I look at it from some other perspective? Somebody else says, no, I don't think it is that problem, it is something else. We try to find out what is the exact cause of the problem. So we are converging this time. So we started with divergence in the empathize, now we are converging in the analyze. Okay, now that we know 1, 2, 3, these are the root causes, these are the conflicts, we have to solve them. Okay, now after that, we want to solve them. I told you we have to solve those problems. We just can't leave it as problems. We have to solve them. In solve, again, we open up our mind and say, what all ideas can possibly solve this? Okay, empty the teacup. We use triggers from Triz. We use triggers from Scamper. whole bunch of tools, ideation tools we use. Let me use another color now that I'm having a lot of fun with colors. Yeah, here. Okay, so in solve, we try to again diverge, get a lot of ideas, and try to get into something like open ideation, open thinking. We know that these are the problems that our users are going through. We know the root cause. This is what it is. Now we open up our mind. And in solve, we totally diverge. Okay, all possible ideas. We don't think about whether it's possible, not possible, expensive, cheap, practical, non-practical. We don't differentiate. We just throw in all our ideas which solve the particular problem from analyze. Okay. Once we are done, we have all those ideas collated. We need to now narrow it down because we can't make all of these as prototypes. We have only money for two prototypes maximum, because making prototypes also may cost money and time. Okay. If it's cheap with some raw materials, you make it, it still takes time and effort to think about what ideas to make into a prototype. So now we start converging one more time in the last part of it. Okay, last part of the design thinking phase, we converge again. Okay, we do this and we try to converge. All right. So now with these four stages, are we done? Not really. We again, after we are done, we take these prototypes back to our users, right? So to find out whether it really solves that, because finally we have all this for the users or the customers, right? So we have to take it back to them, and the cycle repeats. We do another EAST: empathize, analyze, solve, and test. Okay, sorry about my handwriting, but yeah, you get the idea. So we start with empathize, diverge, analyze, converge, and then solve, we diverge, and in test, we converge again. So it is called the double diamond model to explain what is this divergent convergence all about. So these are the phases and where we converge and diverge. Hopefully that was useful for you and it clarified your questions, Mahesh. If you are still unclear, of course, you can unmute yourself and ask me, continue saying, oh, this part I didn't understand. Okay, looks like Mahesh understood or is happy with the answer. There is a Android Blue Droid. Yes, Mr. Android Blue Droid or Miss Android Blue Droid. Blue Droid. Thanks, Mahesh, for confirming. Okay, nothing from Android Blue Droid. Okay, so
I'll share the screen, sir, so we have
yes, please.
access
Yes.
to the,
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty big question.
Oh, sorry. Hello. Hello.
Okay, somebody is trying to speak. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how it came. Android Blue Droid. Maybe from the Zoom. Maybe we can solve this problem also because in the
what is
will
your
come.
name? What is your
My
name?
name is Ramesh. Ramesh. I am a lecturer. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
rename it to Ramesh. Problem solved. We don't need design thinking for this. Very, very simple.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So my question is, for example, if it is. That is why I just confused who is the Android myself. So sorry for
You are looking for
sorry
that. Okay. Yes, please.
my question is like if we have these four steps. My second question is whether we can have more steps here. My first question is, for example, the empathize part. Can we give some other name? For example, if I'm designing a simple hammer, so not for anybody's problem, but I want to do a new type of hammer, maybe
Sure.
with the different features. So then it may not be empathizing, but it may be I am doing a new thing. So that is the first question.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you so much for the question. So, design thinking by definition is for the betterment of a human being. Okay. So we call it human-centered design. So what we have is we put the human being right in the center of our thinking, of our product and service universe. Okay. No matter what we do, we always take that human being and find out if what we have to offer, the product or service, does that match their requirements? Does that work for them? If not, we start looking at, okay, why is it that this product doesn't work? And we start working on that, empathize, analyze, solve, and test, and so on and so forth. But what if I'm not interested in taking the product to the market at all, and I'm just going to improve a product? That's what we call the product centric approach or the service centric approach. I'm really not, I don't have a target customer in mind, I don't have a target user in mind, but my passion lies in improving a product itself. Fair enough. So, this is what I call the complementary approach of the human centered design approach itself. So, it's actually two sides of a coin, right? So, if you, let's say, if you forgot your phone at home, okay, and you go to a shop, okay, your hand keeps checking the pocket. You know very well, your conscious brain has already told you you forgot your phone and it's very too late to go and take it back. Okay, but all this while you keep checking your pocket whether you have your phone or not, although you know that your phone is not going to be there. Why do you do that? Because products have defined your characteristics, your behavior. So it's two sides of the same coin. So if you design a product based on human behavior changes according to the product also. Okay, so if you it's actually a complementary approach. So what you're talking about in redesigning a hammer, okay, if you look at a hammer, it has a handle, okay, human centered. You're looking at, it should be it should have enough length, height, so that you get the maximum power per stroke. Okay, so that's also keeping in mind that I don't expend a lot of energy. The human being shouldn't expend a lot of energy into driving the nail into the wall or whatever, right? So it has human character. So now when I find a short handle hammer, what am I going to do? I'm going to put more effort into it. Now the human behavior has changed. So another inventor looked at this and said, wow, this guy seems to be putting a lot of effort more than necessary. And now we'll come up with a long handle as the design. So it's actually complementary. It's not that the it has to be always empathize, analyze, solve, and design. But if you take a human-centric approach where I'm saying I'm going to look at the human being and see how they react to the product or service, then we look at this approach, and it's a more systematic way of looking at it rather than trying to start solving it then and there on the field. We say take your time, observe, get all the inputs that you can, and then work on it. So that's how we go about doing it. Otherwise, product-centric approaches, there's tons of systems and methods that are available out there which can work on product-centric. For example, Six Sigma, right? Six Sigma is entirely product-centered approach. We can start there. But of course, you will have to come back to the human being because it's two sides of the same coin. Okay. So that was my trial to understand and answer your first question. You said you had a second question also. I'm not sure I got you.
Could there be more than any steps here other than 4?
Sure. Great question. Yes, there can be more steps. You can have like the Stanford IDEO methodology, which I keep referring to. They have 5 steps instead of 4. They have empathize, the same as ours. Instead of analyze, it's define. Instead of analyze, it is define. Instead of solve, they have ideate, and instead of just test, they have prototype and test. Okay, and yes, you could have further refinements into it also. You can have further micro steps in it also. However, I find that in order to keep it simple and practical, 4 steps is easier to deal with rather than 5 or 6 or 7. There are methodologies which have like the TRIZ methodology has close to 52 steps or something like that. Okay, if you expand it completely, it has 52 steps. Now, who's going to remember 52 steps? I need a book always, every time. Oh, what is the third step again? But after a while, it like you're driving, or if you're riding a two-wheeler. If you write it down as a procedure, it is probably 25 steps or 26 steps before you actually get onto the road. But we don't think about it, right? You have done it so many times that the next thing we know, we're already on the road, we're humming a tune to ourselves and all that. We rarely pay attention to what we're doing. Exactly the same thing with all these methodologies and steps. Initially, they'll seem like something that is extra that you have to do, but after that, you will realize that it becomes second nature to you. You don't really have to refer to a notebook or a book to find out what these steps are. So big let's say a tip from experience is to do as many projects as you can, and real projects that you care about. You can make a difference to somebody. Use these steps. It becomes second nature to you. Then you don't have to recall, okay, what after empathize? Is it analyze? Yeah, analyze. Oh, then it doesn't come to you. You start naturally doing stuff. Okay. So that was my trial to answer your second question. Thank you so much, sir, for that question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I also appreciate. It is also a good thing that that two-diamond one is very easy to remember. Diverge, converge, diverge, converge. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. I guess we have Vivek raising his hand. Sorry, Sukrat, I overstepped your domain. You're the MC of the show. Yes, Vivek.
Good evening, sir. Just to continue with what Ramesh sir was telling, just I want to share my experience.
Please.
Basically, I was experimenting design thinking for the internship students, and I am from the manufacturing company. I was working with them, and they were into the innovative solution provider. Now, I had the inquiry of pharma company, which said that the tablet need to be handled without human intervention, and basically there is no touch of human, and it should be packed in 5 and 10 bottles of tablet, and the tablet is very sensitive. Now you need to provide an automation solution for this. Now, as you are answering or asking about the hammer, then for me is there is no human here. Now, in the entire process, we want to eliminate the human. Now, how do I put again design thinking as a question for me? Now, there is no human centric. Then I said, okay, for the student, you try the tablet itself as a human. Now you become a tablet and feel that how you go through the entire process. So you are going through a conveyor, you are falling down, going up, somebody is handing you. Now, how do you feel it? And I experimented, and they have done something, come up with a very good concept. And means I was in the dilemma. Now there is no human, then how? Then what I did is that role play. I did, okay, you get into the role of the tablet and just feel. And how do you, just a piece of information I wanted to share. So the second question I have is, basically I feel a lot of importance of design thinking in SME, MSME, and for that matter in many of these sectors. But I don't know how to approach these guys of saying that, okay, this concept can solve, or it's very helpful, maybe hospital or education system, that already people have tried in this. I wanted your experience of or case, something you have done, if you can share with us, and our knowledge will also expand. Okay, such things have been done, we can do something in this field. That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Great question. So the question is, does this methodology work for small, small and medium industry, medium-sized industries? So does it necessarily have to work only with large enterprises, or can it work with a micro enterprise? Can it work with a small or a medium, as defined by the government of India? So my response is very simple. This method is industry and size agnostic, which means that it works everywhere. It's a structured thinking methodology. That's nothing more fancier than that. Thank you so much for your example also, right? So you can come up with clever ways if you're visualizing it from another person's point of view. So you don't have to be a large industry with lots of resources and team and money. It can actually be done in small scale also. In fact, Sukrat is probably in a better place to answer this question, because he did a project for a very, very small scale industry. I think 2 people, 3 people company, Sukrat, the bakery, he helped somebody. So
It was
he
actually just run by a single person, sir.
single person. There you go. That's as micro as you can get. So, so he actually worked with this lady who's baking, and actually solutions helped her, and I believe it made a big difference to her. She is now in the process of scaling up. In fact, the last time I spoke to him, there was fresh baked goods. In spite of Sukrat being there, it went uneaten. So so it is possible to do it, because what we are doing in design thinking is to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Now, does it matter if they are from a large enterprise or a smaller enterprise? Does not matter. So for me, it is the idea of leaving your own perspective aside and looking at it from someone else's perspective. For me, that is the exciting part of design thinking itself, as to how you can manage that. There are some people for whom this comes naturally. They immediately, the moment they see somebody, they're already thinking about how is it that they're perceiving this whole thing. Like school teachers, for example, they're blessed with that, right? Empathy comes naturally to them. They already are seeing from a child's perspective in a class. For my teachers were like that. So I always found that they're great in getting it from their perspective. But for people like me, I need some construct, customer journey map. I need a specific system, technology maybe, or a method, a process to do this, effectively. So if empathy comes naturally to you, you can easily do this on your own, with any type of industry. So that was my trial to answer or respond to your question, Vivek.
Sir, I'd actually like to add to it. So, what I understood from Vivek's question was that how is it that we can apply design thinking to the industries, right? So, sir, if you actually go and approach these people, say for example, you go and approach a single shop, or kirana shop, or any small business of that sort. So there are two aspects to it. One is that are they open enough to tell you their problem, what their exact problem is, and whether they will allow you to help them out to solve that problem. So that is the first thing that you will have to tackle somehow. Because a lot of people, very well knowing that there exists a problem, will not be very open to somebody else, somebody foreign interfering in their business. But once they are open to this idea of uh, having design thinking applied to their problem, with their experience and with a lot of interviews that you do, and like asking around that you do, you will actually understand the depth of that problem, and maybe with their collaboration you will be able to solve that problem in a better manner, and at the end of the day definitely they will be able to thank you.
Super. Thanks, Sukrat, for that. Thank you so much.
I'll move on with the slides, sir.
Please, yes.
Yeah. Should I read it out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this person says that, sir, I am a research scholar. I am from design background, but more on technique. I want to ask about the examination type, short note, descriptive, multiple choice, or something else. And are you strict to language? I want to learn design thinking because I don't know anything about this. I hope I will complete this course.
Okay, first of all the best for the exam, and I hope you do complete the course in flying colors. Just not completing the course, but passing in flying colors. You should be able to do that. For exams, and I think there was one in the chat also about exams, we are going to have an exclusive live session nearing the exam date. Okay, so we will be covering this in a lot more detail in the last live session. I believe we will announce the date. It's before your exam, so don't worry about that part at all. We have you covered. Okay. So the second part is that you want to know the exam type. Yes, we're going to be multiple choice, and you don't have to write anything. So if English is something that's not a tricky language to deal with, don't you worry. We have all multiple choice, and from past experience, people have told us that they had a good time. They really enjoyed it. Of course, they also told me that they did watch the videos, they took the exam, took the assignments and went through it and applied this, understood the concepts and were able to apply it. Okay, so if you go unprepared like any other exam, not only design thinking, it's going to be tough for you. But if you're able to sort of follow us on the videos, follow us on these live sessions, and also be systematic about your assignments, you should have nothing to worry about. Okay, if you do worry about something, please let us know. The three of us will be able to, and Sukrat, Cham, and I will have you covered in the discussion forum. And if Siddharth is also looking at it, he's also around to help you out. The four of us, between the four of us, we will have you covered. We will address your queries. We don't mind, we make sure that all your questions are addressed. Okay, if you're unhappy with that response, please let us know. That also we'll be happy to sort of do our best to cater to that as well. Okay, so that's my trial to answer this. Okay, there's one last part of it. Sorry, go back. Yeah, so he says, I am from a design background and I don't know anything about design thinking. All I can say is that design process, from the design process, is where I don't know if you're mechanical design, you're talking about that part of it. Because the design, as in industrial design, fashion design, interior design, all these, they have a process, and from that was abstracted design thinking. So it's nothing new under the sun. Design from the design world is where design thinking actually comes from. Okay, so if you think this is something different, probably not. You should take a look at it and see, it does that. But I don't know if it's you're specifically referring to a mechanical design, which I don't understand. Probably this is different. Then take a look at our course. If you have any questions, let us know. So that's what I had to say for this. If it's unclear, please let us know in the forums, or if you're here, unmute yourself and say, no, I was asking something else. Okay, so thanks, Sukrat. We can go to the next question.
Okay, sir. So there is a comment in the chat box by Professor Chandra Banu. The course is interesting and really expanded my thinking process. Sir, will you be conducting any advanced module?
Okay, good question. Thank you so much for the question. I'm not sure. I don't know. This is all I know about design thinking. For me, the advanced part is doing the applying this methodology on meaningful projects. For me, that is the advanced part. Okay, what you have in this course is about being aware of the methods. This learning stops and the retention stops if you stop there itself. My sincere advice to you, based on our own experience, Sukrat, Sham, and I, and Siddharth, and the team that you saw in the videos, is that go ahead and apply it on something that you really care about. You want to make a difference. That is the advanced module that I would be happy. I would be happy to help you with any of these. Okay. So we are going to make an announcement also of the workshop that is attached to this course. If you participate in that, that will give you, okay, there you go, straight away. So we are going to have a workshop on from 6th to 9th of June. And we will be circulating a link for you to upload, a small proposal, 300 words max, proposal of what you would like to solve. And that's, for me, is the advanced module that will really help you in internalizing. That is, it becomes second nature. I addressed the same thing when Vivek asked the question. I said, if you do it many number of times, you don't have to think about it as a problem. Or was it Ramesh? I answered that if you do it many number of times, you don't have to think about, what comes after empathize, what comes after analyze. You don't have to do that. So workshop is another great place to apply it along with the team. There'll be other people who will join. You can get together with them. If conditions are fine, we'll probably, probably we're doing this online only. We're not doing it physical at all. So this is going to be online. We will make sure that you interact with teams and you have a lot of fun and learn design thinking also. So thanks, Sukrat, for bringing this up. We're going to make this announcement anyway. If didn't address your question, please let us know, Professor. Okay. She answers saying, the professor says, very keen to join your workshop. Looking forward. Great to know that. Definitely. Yes, Sukrat, the next one. Is this the next question?
Yes, sir. This is the next question. How to give a attractive presentation?
So Sukrat is the role model this time. He's set the presentation standards a bit higher than what we are used to. Attractive is again, like in a typical design, these are about few other aspects apart from just the looks. One thing is going to be, let's take design thinking. This is a design thinking course. It actually applies to presentations as well. So presentation, the first and foremost is presentation is for an audience. It is never for yourself or to show that you know something. It is not for that. It can serve that purpose as well, but it is for the audience. So the first is to empathize with that audience, to find out who needs this, and why do they need this knowledge? What is it that they're missing? If you can do some little bit of soul searching on, so that's the empathize. Try to find out about your audience. What do they really need? How can I connect to this audience? Okay. So if there are a whole bunch of CEOs and that you have to talk to them, you cannot use the same tactics that you would use for, I don't know, a bunch of students. Okay. A whole bunch of students are in front of you. A whole bunch of CEOs are in front of you. How would your approach be? Very different, right? So you have to do who is going to show up in my meeting. So that's the empathize part. Sometimes you've done this many times, so you don't really have to know. You know the side kind of audience. You know what they are missing. You know what they want. They've asked for this anyway. So that could be the empathize part of it. So you need to know what is it that goes. The analysis. So analysis part will tell you what is it that is missing, the piece of information or the methodology or the data that is missing from what they have understood so far. If it's a client, they have given you a piece of work. You've done this. You should tell them what the problem was and what is your point of view. What is your analysis of this? Okay, because from their point of view, if a client has given you this work or your teacher has given you this work, you should find out why did they give this project to me. Try to get to the bottom of that, and then say, this is what I think. Yeah, this is what I understand the problem to be. Once you get that, you present your solution in a very simple way. If you give full of data, full of bullet points, they're not going to get it. Again, audience empathy, right? If this presentation had 7 bullet points, it is very difficult to comprehend what is there in the presentation. So it has to be very simple, because our brain can only capture a few items at the same time. It cannot, if there are lots of charts and lots of words, we're going to lose out on what is the message we're trying to convey. Okay, so that's simplicity, and that's the solution. You have to give the solution, but in a very simple way. And finally, at the end of it, you have to test it with a small audience and see what the reaction is. Okay, if you have the time. If you don't have the time, of course, you can use the main thing itself, main presentation you're giving to the audience itself as a sort of test. Gauge their reaction. This is important, because the next time when you're asked to present again, you need to keep in mind that that audience received it like that because I think they were not very clear. So I'll go back and tweak. So when I look at my presentation, design thinking presentation from 5 years ago, it's very different from what I have today, because all you people, the audience who have received it, gave me feedback by either your questions, by your comments, by some nice people actually told me, hey, you're missing on this, or you give me too much at one go. I used to have 7 or 8 modules at one point of time. I said, wow, this is all I know. I'm going to put it on them. They said, oh, I don't remember anything. Why? Because when I tested them for what they remembered 2. So, okay, so now I have to condense it, make sure that it is logical. You have to put it all together. So then lastly, this is from the marketing world, and Sukrat is a better person to tackle that. But at the end is the what they call the call to action, or you want your audience to do something. You gave this presentation for a reason. You want them to ping back. You want a pull back from them, saying this is what is there. Okay, if you notice in all our live sessions, I say please go to the discussion forum and put your question there if you didn't understand something. That's the call to action. I'm asking the audience, now that they've received this, to go and do this. So this is my trial. This is the methodology that I normally follow in a presentation. I don't know whether it's attractive or not. It's effective. It works. Many of the times, lots of my students get what I'm trying to convey. Okay, that's the most I can convey. But have they received it? That's the important part. And many times that has worked for me. So I just shared something that have worked for me. Okay, thank you so much for asked this question. Okay.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
I think Vardhan is trying to say, okay. There is a question by Diksha Jain. Sir, should we have some expertise in the area which we are going to pick up a problem, or first empathize and then analyzing the issue involved?
Okay, great question. This is amazing. So, so one of the things that expertise, where is it needed? Okay, so I'll take that question in the opposite way. That is, the question is, should we do we need expertise to be there in the area of the place we're going to solve the problem? So expertise in the comes very useful in the analysis space, because sometimes when you're trying to analyze, only we are just trying to scratch the surface. We may not know enough about the problem. That's where we need to bring in experts. Okay. Otherwise, in empathize, it's about getting to know what the other being is going through. In fact, we need, like last live session, we covered this technology, economy, economics, rather not economy, economics, environment, and societal. We need experts from 4 of these categories to be there in the team, so that they can look at any problem from 4 of these perspectives to give us an idea what people are going through also. It could be, this is one way to do it. We explored this the last time around. Okay, you can look at it from there and then see, hey, looks like they have a technology problem. But technology problem doesn't mean you have to solve it technologically also. It could be from a totally training standpoint. It could be a societal intervention. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a problem in one domain has to be solved in the same domain. In fact, most often than not, it's solved in another domain. And that's the most effective way to, because it's a comprehensive way of looking at every aspect in the EASC process, right? So expertise comes in very handy, useful in the analysis phase. Rest of it is nice to have. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. It's okay, because we need to. The insights are far more useful and come in handy at a later stage compared to if you didn't have any expertise. Expertise usually comes in the way because we know, oh, if they have a technology problem, we're going to solve it technologically. Or you say, oh, they are trying to reduce cost. It may not be at all. Maybe it's not. They're saying it's a cost problem. Oh, I'm not able to afford is what they say, right? The example that comes to my mind is the difference between when Ford launched a car and GM, General Motors, launched a car. Ford said, how can I make it affordable? Okay, which means he reduced the cost of the car itself, not the cost, the price of the car itself. Cost is the cost it takes to manufacture a car. Price is what they sell it at, right? So how can I reduce the price so that people can afford it? That's what Ford said. But General Motors, on the other hand, said, how can I make it affordable by giving the price in chunks? I won't reduce the price. I'm going to extract the same price out of them, but I will give it in. How do I make it, easily affordable? That is, at the same time, how can they pay it? And that led to the invention of equal monthly installments, or EMI, right? So it led to this leasing and financing. So the model came from economics. It didn't come from technology. Whereas Ford's idea came from technology. He tried to simplify the manufacturing process. He brought in the assembly line and made the cost lower. So hence he could reduce the price also to a lower extent, right? And thereby giving better labor costs to his labor also. He was one of the paymasters in those times, right? So the same problem, two people looked at it from completely different perspectives and got completely different solutions. Absolutely the same problem, right? So it's a cost problem. What can I put it as a price? And they got answers out of it. So expertise comes in handy, but pay attention that there are other aspects to the expertise also. It needn't always be an economics problem. It could be a technology problem. It could be a society problem. It could be a environmental issue. So we need to do that. Thank you so much for an interesting question. I hope that sort of addressed your query.
Okay, sir. So I'll just show up the problem on the presentation, and then we'll take up the next question. On the
Yes,
chat.
please.
So a lot of students have missed out on the assignments, and we also addressed it in the last live session, but I think it's fine to reiterate this time also. Yeah.
Okay. So this is let's say an FAQ or a frequently asked question or a frequently worried about issue, right, Sukrat? So Sukrat was kind enough to share this insight with us, saying that this is something that lots of people have asked, lots of our learners have asked this. What am I going to do if I miss assignments? Okay. So keep in mind that we take the best 3 assignments. I think we have total of 5 assignments in our course, but according to the terms of NPTEL, we'll take the 3 out of those 5. I think that's the general agreement we have. And your best 3, not even your average or any such thing, we'll take the best 3 scores. And that will be given 25% weightage. Okay, so that's the general idea. But in order to be qualified, I mean, in order for you to get a certificate, you need to get 10 out of 25 at least. Okay, so 10 out of 25 is the bare minimum that you need to get in the assignment as an average, even if it is best 3. So keep that in mind. Even if you miss 2, if you did 3, you're still clear. You're still okay. You can miss up to a maximum of 2 assignments. Now, the final exam, of course, is going to be have a major weightage, 75%, and this is a proctored exam, which means you have to go to an exam center and take the exam there. It's multiple choice. We have it computer based. We'll have multiple choices. Again, the details of this exam, we'll cover it in an entirely dedicated live session. We'll probably put this slide up there also, so that we cool your nerves, take it easy. This is a course that you can handle well if you do the basic side. So of course, finally the exam score should be at least 30 on 75 percentage weightage again, and total should be at least 40 for you to get a certificate. Okay, so thanks so much, Sukrat, for bringing this up. This is a valid and a very, very important point. Yep.
Right. So the question now in chat is that, sir, is there any way of or method of solving conflicts like mapping method in empathize and multiply and analyze?
Okay. All right. So the mapping method. Okay. So as far as I understand, okay, and what I've understood from this question is that we do in empathize, we do a customer journey mapping. So it's a visual representation of the customer situation. So that's the visual mapping method. We do multi-why and try to get to the root cause. Can I solve conflicts with some kind of a visual method? Why not? There is a random association word. I don't know if it is visual enough for you. So the way we solve conflicts is usually we look at this ENV model, the element name value method that we have described in the course. we take that and find out what is the desired result really. So that's a visual way to convey the problem. We just look at, okay, this is a time versus reliability problem, or this is a, the measuring tape should be used, but it should not be used. It's a contradiction like that. It's a conflict like that. That's what we keep in mind. Okay. There'll be some immediate ideas that come to your head, which is what your emptying the teacup was, or we call it silent brainstorm. You just write down your idea. And if you want any triggers, we use the TRIZ methodology, other way around, or some of the few, beforehand cushioning. All those triggers that are given to you, you can use them to generate a few more ideas. Another one that comes to my mind when you said solving conflicts by mapping method is to map this to a random object that you see on the road or you've heard of, or ask your friend to tell me an object, and then you try to map it and say, if this object had that problem, how will they solve it? Okay, you can try to map it that way. Or you can think of a celebrity. If Superman were there, how would he solve the problem? Okay, that's a random mapping method that I know that you can use. If I don't know, Albert Einstein were to be alive today, well, how would he solve the problem? He would probably write down equations to solve it. So can you use equations to solve it? If Superman were here, he would crush it with his superpower. He would use laser. Can laser be used to solve this problem? So things like that you can try to do in a different sort of way. If none of our prescribed methods work, there are a random association, or I think this is Edward de Bono who says, go to the dictionary, completely take a random page in the dictionary, point at it. You have to do this in a physical dictionary. You can't do it in an online dictionary. So take a random word, touch it, and then say, okay, how does this word associate with my problem? That's also called random word. Or you just type in the word random word in your search engine. Whatever word comes, can you associate with the problem? So these are all some random mapping problems which can probably help you lift yourself off your traditional beaten path of ideas. So some ways to do it. But for this to come, you have to do what the person has said is, you have to empathize, you have to analyze, know what the problem is, and then do all these random methods. If you start with random methods, you will probably end up solving a problem that didn't even be solved. Okay, I hope that agreed with or it sort of went too close to answering your question. Okay. Yes, Sukrat, what's up next?
So I think the presentation wise, our questions are mostly all sorted. FDP registration, assignments, information gathering. Yeah, I think we're done with that. Mahesh has raised his hand.
Yes, Mahesh.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Well, I have one doubt. Is there any unique formula for more successful design in everywhere? Like say, if you can see when consider an engineering cadre, we have for India, we have for civil engineering there is an code book to follow that rules. In the same way, in design theory also, is there any unique formula that I can apply in any location to apply anything that's going to be successful at this few parts? Means if I continue this course, can I get that knowledge?
Okay, thanks. Thank you for that question. So for us, the formula, okay, I don't know about success. For us, success, people have their own definition of success, but in terms of formula, what we have is the 4 steps, right? So we look at what is it that needs to be, what is the user going? Do we know that? We need to find that out. So, okay. So that's the empathize we start with. We associate ourselves, we get acclimatized, we go to the customer location, we go exactly where people are. And that's a long process because it's forming association with somebody, some people. And it's not a very simple thing, and you can't put a process to it. right? It's like, if you think about your best friend, okay, how long did it take for your best friend to become best friend? Was it in a day, or is there a formula to find out who's your best friend? No, it's a human to human connect, right? So it takes a long time for this trusted relationship to form. Now imagine doing the same thing with a customer user that you've never met before. It takes a while. It takes some skill to develop this. Over time, you will develop this. You will find out with absolute strangers, how do I form this bond? How do I get them to confide in me what they are really going through? What is their fear about something? They're not going to reveal to anybody just coming and say, so what's the problem with the product that you use that our company makes? They're going to say, oh, no problem. Just go away. Okay, you're not going to get anything useful like that. You have to sit down, spend the time, try to get it. Okay, so there is no formula for developing human relation, at least as far as I know. Okay, so that is where it all starts. If you do this well, then this analysis, we have certain constructs. I don't think that's a formula per se, but it's about asking a series of whys, framing the problem in a visual format, and seeing where the conflicts are between two parameters, or two parties, two people, or a human being and a machine. We do that, and then we solve it. You can use your own creativity loosely, or with some structured methods like trees you can use and find out some solutions. Of course, your skills have to come in handy with building it all together. Okay, so in terms of quantifying it and saying that, okay, if you have there is no parameter that we know of here which says, okay, you reached 5.7, that's great, you have successful in design thinking project. We have nothing like that. It's only you going back to your customer user that you talked to initially. If you really, and you have seen that it solves their problem, it makes their life better, then you're successful in your design thinking project. But I don't think that's an end point. That's actually another starting point, because no solution is perfect. Any solution on planet Earth or even in the universe is not perfect, right? You always need to keep improving. You need to understand from their point of view. There are so many of us around this globe that we need to understand another person's point of view to keep improving the product or service. So it's a never-ending journey. It's a recursive journey, and unfortunately there are no numbers which tells you you're done or not. Okay, so I don't know if this is what you wanted, but this is what my trial to sort of answer your question. Okay, I think we are out of time, Sukrat.
Yes, sir, and I don't think there are more questions either.
Okay.
So I think we're good to go.
I think this as I'm a college student, should I have to deal real problem or do assignments for better understand? Okay, so I'll take 30 seconds more of your time. Yes, real life problems will give you real life experiences, and us in this team have always learned it from real life experiences, helping real people achieve real things. That actually gives us satisfaction, and the understanding also comes along with that. The insights come along with that. Okay, till then it's just a course with some videos and some examples that we are given. All the stuff that you've heard from us, it's all going to be just theory and the air. It becomes permanent, it becomes personal, it becomes your own till you take up a real life problem. So that was my trial to answer this in 30 seconds. Okay, that's the time that we have. Okay, we are going to meet after this. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and people who are watching this as a recording, please do, if there's something that you don't understand, please do use the discussion forums to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer them there. Okay, so all the best with your exam preparation, and see you in the discussion forum, and of course in the last live session that we'll have just before your exams. Okay, have a good day ahead, evening ahead, and see you next time. Thanks, Sukrat, for piecing this together.
Thank you.
See you, everyone. Bye.